Hello there. I know you're probably wondering, who is this amazingly handsome man that's on my screen? That's a very good question. My name is Dr. Barmitzvah. I'm here to tell you about my new EVE Online Corp. Well, first, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I originally started EVE back in 2010 out of sheer boredom and self-loathing, and I've taken a few long and short breaks since then. I've been in a bunch of different corps, played all over the place, and I came back to EVE about a week ago, and I kind of felt like there wasn't very inviting places for newbies to go. I'd been in Horde before, Pandemic Horde. I've been in RVB before. I was in Brave for a little while, and them all being, not RVB, but the others being in nullsec is kind of, I don't know. I always thought it was a little bit more difficult for noobs. You're far away from trade hubs, and everything's dangerous, and it's a little bit harder for new bros to make money out there. So I wanted to start something that I did a lot of is faction warfare, and I wanted to start a faction warfare corp. So I'll go ahead and pop open this fancy stuff here where it's corporate. There it is. So there's my corp. I want alpha, and there's the ad. I haven't even put the build funds up yet. I just started it today, and basically what I'm looking to do is create a place for new players, returning bitter vets, who the hell ever, who want to just hang out, have fun, and make money while do their PvE and PvP together in faction warfare, and do it with friends, and maybe we'll get some epic fights and tell some stories. So what I'm going to do first is I just kind of want to show you what faction warfare looks like, what it actually is, what you're doing. So let me do that real quick. I guess this will kind of be like a basic faction warfare tutorial, so you can make up your mind. Maybe this is something I want to do. Maybe this dude's someone I want to fly with. Maybe I'm a dick and you don't like me. Maybe I don't like you either. There. I'm in Miator. It's kind of like the back door into the system. Let me go ahead and put up Dotland real quick. Dotland, where are you? I don't even know if this is going to show up on the stream, is it? No. I don't have a capture for that. Oh well, no Dotland for you. And now that's going slow-mo. That's weird. Let's go back to that. Alright. So anyway, basically Miator, this little area right here, it's high sec, it's attached to the rest of the high sec, and Ra is low sec, RAA. That's where I'm headed. And if you want to get here, you can just go to people and places and type in RAA, and one of the results will be a system. See, and you can go right click and click set destination, but I'm already there, so I can't do that. Alright, and now that I'm in Ra, and since I'm in faction warfare, I'm going to look for one of these little plexes. You go to your probe scanner. Now if someone has already warped one of these when they've appeared, it will be in my overview. I can just warp to it already. There's a novice right there. I'm going to go to that. Go within 10. And the other ones that are here, like there's two smalls, and they're not here. There's one small, the other one's not here. That's because someone hasn't warped that other small yet. So it's still closed. And the probe scanner, if you don't know where it is, it's down here. You hold that, and you can also open it by pressing Alt-P. And I keep mine on my overview because it's all things I can warp to, things I can warp to. So I like to have it in the same box, but you do as you please. Also, I put my directional scan and my drones down here in my talk box. So basically, I go into these little things. This is the novice. The different size of these restricts the type of ships. The novice only allows Tech 1 frigates and faction frigates like a Firetail or a Dreymeal, but no Tech 2 frigates, no destroyers, and that's what that little acceleration gate does. Always warp to those at you always want to warp to those at 10, because you can still activate the gate at 10k. It'll still say 0 when you land, and if you go at true 0, you warp to 0. What can happen is you get stuck on that little gate, and then other people land, and you're furiously trying to activate the gate because there's a cruiser there and he can't go in the novice, but you went to 0, so you're stuck in the gate, and then he points you and blows you up. So don't do that. Warp to 10. Unless you're just lazy like me and want to warp to 0. And don't give a shit if you die. but there's no one in system anyway. And also, yeah, it's another trick. Take your local out and put your local as a separate box so you can always see who is here. There's just my drones. Real quick, I'll show you how D-scan works, because a lot of people have confusion about this, and it's really not complicated. If you went to the program, you go the other way, or hit Alt-D, it opens up your D-scanner, which is this glorious little box here. Now, if you haven't already set up overview presets with all these wonderful tabs like just drones and friendlies and no friendlies and warp out and faction warfare stuff and everything and all that, blah blah blah, I have all these little glorious tabs. I use the Sashawa's overview pack, and if you just go in the help channel and ask for an overview pack, you'll probably get linked to the channel where you can get the overview pack. Anywho, so I have it set. I check the box, use overset, and I pick ships only because the only thing I'm really concerned about is ships. You could technically, you obviously want to see probes, so if I get in that situation, I'll just switch to my regular overview thing, and I can see everything like drones or probes or whatever, okay? But generally I just keep it on ships. I'm just worried about where are the ships. So, and that's one of the presets that comes with the Seshiwa overview pack. Anyway, so what we're going to pay attention to is this thing right here, this range bar. Now this cuts to preset sizes, 5 AU, 10 AU, 15 AU, or almost 15 AU. And you know, all the way down to 1 AU, blah blah blah. Oh, I hit that check. Didn't mean to. So when I go to 15 AU, you look here in your overview, and almost the whole system is within 15. This is just, well, 14, I should say. These two gates I cannot see, but if any ship was at any of these things, the Siflar gate, the infrastructure hub, the large outpost, the star, this scan would see them. It's on 360 degrees. And they're within range. So if I wanted to scan, if I saw a bunch of ships and I was like, okay, where are these ships? One of the first things I could do is put my angle down to 5 degrees, and now I can just click on my overview and I press C on my keyboard, and it turns my screen there. And now I'm scanning just that thing because I have a little 5-degree cone in front of my ship. Picture this: if you put on like 15 or 30, imagine a big cone in front of your ship of what you're scanning. And it doesn't matter which way my ship points. I shouldn't say in front of your ship, in front of your screen. Wherever your screen points is where that cone points. So if I go down to 5 degrees and I click on something like the change of plan, that's a mission actually. The faction warfare missions spawn in local. Everyone can see them. Normal like high-sec missions, or they don't spawn like that. It's just the faction warfare ones. And I scan. I don't see anything, obviously, but that's how, and then I can just go down the list, and I press C again, click on it, press C, go to Siflar, scan, nothing at Siflar, click on it, press C, scan, nothing at the infrastructure hub, and just rinse and repeat, and nothing at start. And sometimes stuff will be stacked up, like when I see how I mouse over this, and all these things pop up, if I scan 5 degrees, it could be at any of these things, and it'll come up here, you know what I mean, because they're all in line from here, from where I'm pointing. And if I wanted to clear that up, I could warp closer, like go to the sun, and these things would be spread out around it. And generally, if you enter a system and you're trying to find somebody real quick, the sun is a pretty good space to go because it's always in the middle of the system. So everything gets kind of scattered around you, and you try to figure out which planet they are, and they could be on a station, a belt, or a moon, or a customs office at that planet, or at the planet itself. So then, like, you scan them down to which planet they're at, and unless you can get something else up in the overview quicker, you figure out exactly where they're at right away. But if you can't quite find where the fight is or whatever, you go to the sun, you scan down, try to figure out which planet they're at, which direction. You go to that planet, and that scatters all the stuff around that planet, like the moons and the asteroid belts around you, for you to scan each thing individually as you go around. So that's kind of how I've always done it. I'm sure there's other brilliant people who have better ways, but I'm just used to that. It works, it's quick, I can always find what I'm trying to find in the system. It's a little bit harder on the size of the system matters. If the system's like 100 AU and you're only able to reach 14 AU, it's a little bit harder to track stuff down, okay? So like these gates I cannot scan. I cannot see what's on the gates, but I see there's no one in local, so I'm not worried about it. But that's just a little bit of D-scan. You isolate things by range. You scan, you know what I'm saying? If I wanted to scan, if I cut my AU down to 5, right? There's nothing here to warp to at 5 AU. I mean, there could be people within 5 AU, but generally speaking, there won't be a bunch of people at these things. When I put my scanner on the 5 AU range, now I'm just scanning like basically what's outside my novice. Well, you can put it all the way down to like 1 AU, and that's just outside your novice. So now when something pops up on this, like there could be a bunch of stuff in local, but nothing's on 1 AU, so I know no one's on the other side of that acceleration gate that leads into this little room. So that's how you just scan for that. And make sure you're on 360. You want to scan every direction. Now, that's basically it. It's just using the range and the angle to isolate things. You either isolate it by range or you isolate it by angle, and you narrow, process of elimination. You figure out big truck going by. You figure out where exactly the person is, or whatever you're looking for. It's not a person. And so as I'm sitting here, you see this little timer going down, and I'm in a right now I'm in a Mimitar held system. So every little timer pushes this bar up, and when this bar goes all the way up, what happens is this little guy over here, that's a infrastructure hub, that little checkered square kinda. Once that bar fills up here, that thing goes vulnerable. And then all the MR guys, everyone in MR faction warfare, can come and shoot this thing. It has a bunch of HP, probably a million or two, I don't know exactly the number. And we all get together in a bunch of shifts and we blow the fucking thing up. And once that happens, then the system goes lost, and the next downtime it flips and is now an MR system. Well, what does that mean? When the system becomes an MR system, if there is a station here, we can dock at it. This system obviously doesn't have a station, but if there was one, it gives docking rights for your militia. So it's a very, very big deal. And also, some of those stations are where you get missions for your militia, which is a big income thing. So you want to unlock your militia's stations. For Amar, that's the 24th Imperial Crusade is their missions. And for the Mimitar, what is theirs? Tribal Liberation Force stations are the ones where they get their missions. Oh, I have people coming in local, so I'm just going to get on my scanning. I'm going to watch the 5-degree scan. If I go full, I might see what they're in. Okay, I got a claw and a comet. I really don't want to fight a comet, but I'll fight a claw, maybe. I don't think a claw can come in here to Tech 2. This is a novice, so the claw can't come in, but a comet can, so I might have to fight a comet, and it's not really a great fight for me. Comet's kind of scary, because he's probably fast enough to run me down, and he does a lot more damage to me if he does run me down. But if he can't run me down, I win, so I'm going to take the coin flip if he comes. I'm going to fight him. And then you can just hear my little finger tapping away. I'm just constantly scanning at 10 AU. So I know as soon as they come to me. Because chances are if they come within 10 AU, this is just wrecks and stuff here. This is all stuff that I'm right next to. But this little guy right here is at 11 AU, and these are the other things they're probably going to warp to. So if he comes within 10, he's probably coming here. And who knows? Oh, one guy just left. They're just passing through. Who knows what they're up to? They're not concerned with me. And then I can stop furiously clicking this button. Although it would be really cool if the scanner just stayed scanning CCP, please. So anyway, that's kind of just faction warfare. What happens is, though, since I'm in an enemy system, I'm a Mar and I'm plexing in a Mimitar system, so I am offensive plexing, which means I get a better payout. There's also, if you look at the faction warfare map, just keep scanning real quick. There's tiers, and you can see the Mimitar are at a very high tier, and when they hit tier 4 like they are right now, their missions become very, very valuable. So and the poor Mar, we only have 3 systems left right now. You have Huala, Ezra, and Arzad are the only systems we hold out of all of these. They're all mini. That's why their tier is so high, and that's why they're farming their little asses off, making lots of money. But that's okay, because we're going to make lots of money too. Oh, and the guy left, so now I can stop scanning. I don't have to worry about it as much. Not that I was that worried in the first place. And I got another minute and 40 on this timer, so when that is done ticking, I will get a payout of loyalty points, and we'll get into that just a little bit later. Let me make sure I don't forget it. I'll write it down. I got it written down. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of how faction warfare goes. You in the so I'll go over the plex real quick. The small plexes, you can fit destroyers in. You cannot fit T3 destroyers. You can fit destroyers, Tech 2 frigates like assault frigates or interceptors, stuff like that. And everything smaller. All the Tech 1 frigates, obviously. And then medium. I don't think there's a medium here. There's also medium outpost or medium facility, whatever, the medium plexes. Those are cruisers, Tech 1 cruisers, which includes the faction cruisers, such as Omen Navy issue or another NPC. Omen Navy issue or like a Scythe Fleet issue or Stabber Fleet or something like that. Those are all allowed in the mediums, as well as the pirate ones. I'm pretty sure all the Tech 2 cruisers are allowed in there too. They are, pretty sure. And the T3 like Tengus and Proteus and Legions aren't though. And then The large plexes that you see once in a while, they don't have a gate. Anything can warp that. You could warp a fucking carrier to it if you want. So those are there's no gate, there's no dead space. Anyone can warp to them. But you can't. It's just like the gates outside of Novice. You cannot warp directly to a buddy that's on that grid. And when I say on grid, I mean it's like what's right here that I can see in space. Like all this stuff is off grid. I have to warp to it. But all this stuff that I can see, it's on kilometers. That's on grid. So you cannot warp to a specific spot around that large. If your buddy's in a battleship 50k off the large, you cannot warp directly to him. You will land 50k from the beacon, whichever direction you came from. So you have to take that into consideration, so you warp to the beacon at the right range and the right angle to land on your friends. Normally, if someone's in a system and they're not in a dead space area, you can just warp directly to them at 0 from anywhere in the system if they're in your fleet. So that's the only thing with large you have to be aware of. You can't warp to the exact spot you want to. You can only warp in relation to the actual beacon. And they all pay out different sizes as well. They have longer timers. The small has a couple minutes longer timer, and it gets more payout, and blah blah blah. Every bigger thing has a little bit bigger NPC in it. The smalls have destroyers shooting at you. The mediums have cruisers shooting at you, and the large have a battle cruiser shooting at you. And they have reps, so you have to have a certain amount of DPS to be able to kill them to run those plexes. This being a new character, I stick to novices. It just takes too long to kill the other NPCs. It's not worth it. I don't make any money. But if you're in groups, it's certainly worth it to run smalls or mediums. Alright, and I'm just going to real quick check the probe scanner and see if there's another novice. And I just got a loyalty point payout, and I'll go ahead and pull that up so you can see it. Alright, there's no more novices in this system, so also in the corp chat I generally put good systems to RAT. It's all these systems connecting to where we're living right now. So I'm just going to go through Syphilar. And a lot of these systems in the area are very quiet. And let me show you the mail I get. See, we get the you get this lovely mail saying, and that's right now, right? Yeah, 920. No, that's an old one. Let me go to when I received right now. Okay. So this is my mail, and it's saying that on 2016 9/29, which is today. 1925? No, that's earlier. Where's the one I just did? Why wouldn't it be right here? Okay, whatever. Anyway, this is the same thing. It's saying I got 5,000 loyalty points. That's another novice that I did anyway, so it's not like it's different. But, oh, there's 3 novices in here, which is awesome. So I can just chill here for a while and run these. And that's an ally. If you mouse over, it'll say pilot is in your militia or allied to your militia. And that little purple star, that's part of the reason you want to have your overview pack set up right, because it'll, it gives you the right colors and everything, so you, like, people that are at war with you are blinking. Literally that little star would be like orange and blinking, and I know that's a war target. As soon as he enters local, it catches your attention. Very, very important not to shoot your friends and know who the enemies are. So get your overview set up right away before you get out in space and start shooting. And this is really all faction warfare is. And then that 5,000 LP I made off that site, that's worth about 5 million ISK. Probably a little bit more. More LP is pretty valuable. And if you look at my journal, I've just been doing this for the last couple days, and that's about 75 million worth of loyalty points. So I've done like 15 of these or something. My math is bad. 75 divided by 5 would be 13. I've done 13 smalls. And there's also like missions. I can do like the level 1 and 2 missions. I've done a few of them. But those are more or less just to give you faction standings. And the reason you want the faction standings is so you can unlock level 4 missions. That's where like the biggest money in faction warfare is the missions, level 4 missions. If you can run those, you start making serious bank. Hundreds of millions per hour. It's really hard for new players to do those solo, but if you get some really cool bros and you get like 2 or 3 dudes in a caracal, you can certainly go out and run level 4s together and make those hundreds of millions of ISK together. It can be done. I've done it. So not even, almost every race has a cruiser that you get 2 or 3 of them. You can run those missions, no problem. And the other thing is too, you set up your cruisers for like PvP. So if anybody comes to screw with you when you do those missions, you just engage them, kill or tackle, and leave. and it's all good. So that's kind of the gist of faction warfare. Right now, I'm just I'm plexing these systems. Every once in a while, someone comes through and I get a fight, and I try to kill them with my Tristan. Or you can just run if it looks like a bad fight. You know, I'm not going to fight a fucking slicer in this thing because he'll just kill me. So you gotta know what you can fight and what you can't is very important. And that just comes with experience. Most times, a new bro, you'll be running away and saying, "Guys, let's blob the fuck out of him." And you get on cons and just ask all your buddies to come fucking jump the guy. You spread out a couple guys and a couple systems nearby, and you're all just kind of hang out. And if anyone fucks with you, you dunk them. So that's kind of that. Most of the new bros I'm recommending for skill plans. Well, I'll get into skill plans in another video. I'm just gonna wrap this up right here. So my corp is called I Want Alpha, and I'm Dr. Barmitzvah. And if you want to come join us and learn the ways of faction warfare and small gang PvP, we're not great, but we'll teach you what you know, and we'll be cool as fuck. And come join us. Thank you. And this.